Charlie the elephant was born in Zimbabwe, Africa. When he was 2 years old, he was captured and taken to a circus in South Africa. Since 2001, he's lived here in the country's national zoo, first with other elephants, but for the last 4 years, he's been completely alone.
He lost his partners at the zoo. He became to be lonely elephant, solitary, alone. And I think the zoo was doing all what's possible in their hand to improve, but I think it was not enough.
Over the years, animal welfare groups have been campaigning for Charlie to be released back into the wild, and expert vets were called in to give their assessment.
He didn't care about anything. He was not enjoying the food, he was not enjoying being there. It was just, he was like an animal, an elephant without a future.
After years of discussions, the South African government recently took the groundbreaking decision to allow Charlie to leave the zoo and go to a much bigger enclosure on the wildlife reserve, where he will eventually be reintegrated back into the wild. And so, the huge challenge of moving a 5-ton elephant began. It took weeks of careful planning, training Charlie to get used to a specially built crate that was used to transport him to the reserve. And finally, the moment of release.
It was such an incredible feeling to see him walking outside, in the beginning with very careful steps, exploring everything around. Now here the situation is totally different. He starts to be really wild, to discover every day new things in his surrounding, to touch for the first time the African savanna. It's something incredible for him.
As animals in the wild are becoming increasingly endangered, zoos say that their work is important for conserving our amazing wildlife. But some animal welfare groups disagree. Will Travers, the president of the Born Free Foundation, believes no big mammals like elephants should ever be kept in zoos.
I often think about what life is like for some of those big animals that live in tiny enclosures in zoos, sometimes hundreds, thousands of times smaller than the habitats that they would inhabit in the wild. Elephants, giraffe, big cats, dolphins. Just because we can lock up animals in captivity for life, for our education, so-called, or our entertainment, does that make it right? I think it's time for us all to reset our relationship with wildlife and look to keep wildlife in the wild where it belongs.
For Charlie, there's still some work to do. When he's ready, he'll be released into the wider 50 square miles on the reserve, where he'll be able to meet the other elephants and go back to being wild.